Over the past year and a half or so, I've been slowly and methodically working on this 69 Ford E100 short wheelbase van. And now I'm at the step I'm working on the engine. So join me. This has been on ice for about 30 or 40 minutes. And this has been on the oven for 30 or 40 minutes at 425. Now this can only go on one way as far as the rotation, but I got to make sure that the dot is on the outside. I've got a little tool here, piece of pipe, and a washer that this is going to fit through. Right, that doesn't quite reach. It really should more easily go on. All right, so it slid on. All right, I made sure this was clean. I put assembly lube on it. It's going to slide in very carefully. Probably want to take these bolts out right now. So the important part now is that I line up the dot here. It's all the way on this side with this dot. I forgot to say, you need your first cylinder here at top dead center to allow for this mating up here. See the cam retaining plate in behind here. Line it up with the holes. I'm going to move this a little bit so that the holes line up. Maybe I can turn this pulley. So we're going to put thread locker blue on these and tighten them to 15 foot-pounds. I'd like to put the oil pan on now, but unless I put this front cover on, you don't have the front mating surface. So I'm going to do that right quick. The trick to it is when you put it on, you just place it in without tightening the bolts. You want to get this seal centered up perfectly by sticking the harmonic balancer on and getting it centered before you tighten the bolts. That way this isn't squeezing one way or the other. Got to get this cover on. I smeared some black RTV on it and the surface. I'm going to place the gasket on, hold it on with some bolts temporarily. All right, putting those bolts in was just an effort to keep the gasket aligned. And now I'm going to take those back out, place this on, and put the bolts back in place, leave it loose, install the timing cover, align this perfectly centered with the new seal, and then in an hour I will torque the bolts down. I cleaned this up here and then put some lube on it. Match this up to the keyway. so the seal is centered onto the balancer. I'm just going to snug these very slightly, but not torque them yet. Just enough so that this doesn't move now that it's centered. Now I'm going to have to pull this balancer back off. I've got this set to 17 foot-pounds. Getting ready to do the oil pan gasket. Everything's clean and dry here. I noticed in the back, this piece fits over this, and then in the front here, they fit together like a puzzle piece. I'm about to smear some gasket RTV black on here, and I'll do the same on top of the oil pan there. And then I'll fit it together, and I won't snug it until an hour has passed, and then I will put in my torque specs. I'm going to add a little bit more RTV at these corners where it fits together. Alright, all these holes are lined up, and I've got a smear of black RTV on the oil pan itself. And like that. Put them together. Right, it's on good. I'll come back in a little bit for torquing. All right, we're about to drop the head on. These little dowels go in, and they help position the head onto the block. Before I put the head on, I'm gonna wipe it clean. Get any debris out of here. All right, gently, very gently. You feel that click into place? I kept these head bolts in order, and I cleaned them up. I cleaned up the heads and the threads. And what I've got to do is put a little bit of oil on these threads and torque them down in a specific pattern from inside to out, all the way up to 80 foot-pounds. I painted these exposed head bolts, that pale gold color, dropped them in, didn't need to on these. And I'm going to do the torque sequence now. All right, these I just lowered these down into the hole. They haven't been tightened. Okay, so I'm not going to just put 80 pounds on one and then go to the next. I'm going to gradually, and maybe 3 or 4 steps, get it up to 80 foot-pounds in the same sequence each time. All right, here's my graph. Start here. That's 15 pounds. 2 is here. 3. 4. All right, I did the 15, 30, 45, went to 60, and that's where I'm at now. I think to finish off, I'll do a 70 and then finally a 80 in the same sequence. All right, it's hot and muggy in the garage, and I just torqued all these to 80, and now I'm sweating profusely. It's raining outside, it's really muggy and hot. I guess we're on to the next project. I guess that's going to be dropping the lifters in, and the push rods, rocker arms, etc. These lifters have been sitting up here in an oil bath for a couple of days. I guess now's a good time to tell you what oil I picked out. I picked out a 10W30 and a zinc additive for engine break-in. So I just mixed the two together and I poured some in there with those lifters. I went with a conventional oil just for the break-in. I might switch to synthetic after the first 300 or 500 miles. I've got the mixed 10W30 and additive mixed up in this bottle just so I could use it as a squirt bottle. I'm just going to drop some oil on these cam lobes. All right, flat part down, dimpled side up. I made sure that you look through the light, see there's nothing stopping these up. Anything could happen. Now these look like new, but they're not. They're actually the originals. The guy that did the machining work on this engine put this through a tumbler. So now it's time to put these on, but I'm gonna put a little bit of this assembly lube on the top of each valve. So a dab of assembly lube here, a dab of assembly lube here. And I'm gonna go ahead and put these on. A little assembly lube on both sides. And now these balls here will be lubed, placed in. I'm going to be torquing these rocker arms down now. I'm going to do what Jeremy's Adventures here on YouTube. Shout out to Jeremy's Adventures. Thank you for your videos. I learned a lot from your videos. I'm going to do exactly as you did and go to 21 foot-pounds on these rocker arms. Also, I want to shout out to Andrew, a friend down the road, to let me borrow this nice torque wrench. A little bit of blue Loctite, which is like a medium Loctite. Everybody has their opinion of what you should and should not use, but I'm going to use this. This is a 2 1/16 size for the back of this head. The largest socket I own. A dead blow hammer. So let's see what happens. It's gonna take some heavy hitting. I need a harder hammer now. I need this thing flush. That's about right. That should never leak.